So today I want to look at a really great lesson in A Course in Miracles, and it's a tough one, and it's a tough one to learn, but it's so fundamental for that shift in perception that this course is trying to bring about, right? That shift in thought that brings about that light and love and peace that is within you. But in order for that to resurface, you have to let go of your defenses. You have to let go of those blocks to the obstacles of peace. And the lesson is called If I Defend Myself, I'm Attacked. And what he's going to tell you in his lesson is defense and attack are the same thing, they're simultaneous. And the first lesson is so beautiful because he's going to kind of undo your beliefs. Listen to the first line. He says, who would defend himself unless he thought you were attacked? Why would you defend yourself? Unless there's a belief in you that you're going to be attacked. Right? Let's be honest for a moment. You wouldn't defend yourself. If you didn't think you were attacked, you wouldn't defend yourself. Now, we're going to look at defense a little more in a moment because defense is not necessarily what you think it is. It's not necessarily physical or verbal attack. It's more than that. But listen to this first line. So why would you defend yourself unless you thought you were attacked? 2, that the attack is real, right? And 3, that your defense is going to save you from the attack. Right? True question. Why would you do it at all unless you thought you were attacked, that the attack is real, and that your defense is going to save you? And as he so beautiful says, he says, herein is the problem of defense. He says, it adds illusions to illusions, making correction doubly difficult. Can you see? Because the attack is not real, the defense is not real, nothing is going to save you, but now you defend yourself more and more and more. You surround yourself with a thought system that's not true, and ideas that are not true, and now you're going to have to even work harder in undoing these defenses. Right? Because the whole fact of the matter is, none of it is so. Right? And the whole point of this is that those belief systems are to be undone. That's the whole point of this course, the undoing of the illusions in your thought system. So I love it. And now let's look at what he calls defense. There are many things in this course that he calls defense. And here's an example. He says, it is this you do when you attempt to plan the future. He calls planning the future an attack. Because what? It is. Why would you plan the future unless somehow you thought you're not going to be wholly perfectly provided for? Right? And the thing that doesn't think that it's going to be provided for is not real. That self that you're trying to defend with that thought system is not real. And somewhere you know that this is true. Deep down, you know that the thing that you're trying to defend, the thing that's trying to plan for the future, isn't real. It's what you've made of yourself. It's what you believe you are. But the self that you believe you are is not what you are. But that self needs continuous defense, right? It needs continuous defense because what? It's not real. If you stop defending it, it'll just fall apart. What you truly are needs no defense. You're whole and perfect as God created you. It doesn't need defense. But listen to this line. And is this what you do when you attempt to plan the future or activate the past? Why would you activate the past if it's over? Right? The whole practice of A Course in Miracles is to come in the here and now. Somehow, if you activate the past, you think it's not over. Right? You think that something truly happened to you, but it's over. And 3, organize the present as you wish. Right? One of the lessons in the Course in Miracles, let all things be exactly as they are. Because as they are now, it's perfect. As hard as that may be, right, in your belief system, that everything is perfect the way it is now. So he calls defense, planning for the future, activating the past, or organizing the present as you wish. So it's not necessarily some physical or verbal, right, attack. It is way broader than that. It's your defense of a self that has no reality. And that's the problem, is that identification with self that needs to be undone. That is not real. The self that you're trying to defend is not what you are. What you truly are, right, is whole and perfect. It doesn't need defense, right? If you're whole and perfect, why would you need to defend yourself? Why would you need to plan? Why would you need to activate something that's over and gone? You just are. You just are that. Mhm. And you're whole and perfect. There's, right? So, this is why this lesson is so beautiful. And what he says in here is you operate from the belief that you must protect yourself from what is happening because it must contain what threatens you, right? And I love it. It says the world is based on this insane belief. It's true. The world is based on that belief, right? Nothing the world believes is true. It says all its structures, its thoughts and doubts, its penalties and heavy armaments, its legal definition and its codes, its ethics and its leaders and its gods, everything, all serve but to preserve its sense of dread. Holy mackerel. Everything you set up out there, all has as its purpose to preserve that sense of dread. And it says, for no one walks the world in armature, but must have terror striking in his heart. And not just a little fear, he says terror. Everyone who walks this world has terror striking. It may be covered over, but layers and layers of defense, and you may not feel that terror. But for many of us, for many of you out there who feel that fear continuously, right? And it's really, for many of you out there, this is really close to the surface, right? That's what you call them panic attacks, or you live in a constant state of anxiety. It's because the veil comes really thin and you become really aware of that terror that you have in you while others may not, right? It's because you're about to wake up. Those who are in a lot of fear are close to the awakening. And when you let go for a moment, if you stop defending yourself and let that fear be converted, let yourself pass through it, if you will, so that you come out on the other side, you can't even find the fear anymore. It's allowing yourself to go through it for a moment and end up on the other side. And then you'll see that the fear was never real, it's gone, and you're in the peace of God. Right? But it's that constantly defense against that fear that disallows you to actually just kind of pass through it. Amazing. What an amazing idea. And he beautifully then goes into reasoning. Well, let's look at what you're defending. And then he goes to, well, that self isn't real, right? And finally, what he beautifully says is a healed mind doesn't plan, right? When your mind is healed, you don't plan. You just be. You just are here now. You trust that you'll be perfectly provided for. The past is over and gone, and you have no need to arrange the present in some other way that better, right? That protects you in some way. You accept it as it is now. Let all things be exactly as they are. This is a tough lesson, but if you learn this lesson, you can make great progress in this physical and spiritual transformation of mind that this course is offering you. So read this lesson today if you have a moment, because it's so fundamental, right? What are you defending, right? Because what you truly are doesn't need defense. So what you're defending then must be something that isn't real. I hope you have a great day, wherever and whenever you are. I truly love you, and I'll see you everywhere.